to ensure because I don't see where we are streaming on YouTube. It might just take a second. Oh, now I see it.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yep. And now I'm going to change the title of the video because it just
Okay.
says "Welcome to the show." But so appreciate you coming back on, man. It's
Yes,
been a
sir,
minute.
man. It has. It has. I would have done it a while ago, man. Just been busy and all that, and thought about you the other day. So
Yeah,
yeah.
man. And so you wanted to you had some questions that you wanted to ask me.
Yes,
Oh,
sir. Yes, sir.
okay.
I wanted to know, man, in more detail. I got some scriptures, but I'm gonna wait on those.
Okay.
I wanted to know some details on what you were like before you converted or deconverted, and what were those questions,
What would it?
and
You
what
asking
was
like
that process
you asking like what questions that I had before I deconverted?
that caused you to deconvert,
Oh,
and what kind of ways did you go about seeking those questions, those answers, and what were you like as a Christian from your own narrative, your own perspective? Because my goal today is to really break down what you were like as a Christian before,
mm-hmm.
break down what your process was for looking for those answers before you got to where you are now, and see did that really line up with what Scripture says God is like, and is that in alignment with the type of questions that He does answer?
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I already see your error here because one, like there is no coherent picture of the way God is like in the scriptures. That's why Christians can't seem to agree on what God is like. You go across different denominations and you'll get different variations of God. But let's see. Okay, what was the before I go there? The first question you was what made me leave Christianity?
Yes. What sort of questions did you have that you couldn't get answered that made you leave Christianity? Because I remember that's what you were trying to get worked out, trying to get figured out. I remember you were saying something to that degree.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing was so I was working on my first master's degree in international relations, right? So it's public
Okay.
policy, focus on international relations. A
Okay.
big thing that I study in that program is government, and
Okay.
so and it was I was studying it at Liberty University, right? Very
Right.
Christian school, and the my idea of what I thought a good government was, I wasn't seeing that in scripture. I was seeing a bunch of
Okay.
problems, and
Okay.
so yeah, and so and I didn't look at that and was like, oh, now I'm atheist. But it what happened was there was an epistemic approach that before I started having trouble with these questions, there was an epistemic approach that I had with the gospel, with the Bible, and that
Okay.
is any error that I saw in the Bible was always in me.
Okay.
And so the Bible is perfect in whatever it says. If I see a contradiction, it's not really the case. It just seems that way because I'm not looking at something correctly, or there's something I don't know, or or like there's some sort of prejudice in my mind, or something like that. And
Okay.
as I started studying government and I started seeing these problems,
Yeah.
I my epistemic approach changed, and I started allowing myself to do critical analysis on the Bible. And
Okay.
and the first part I did that with was in Romans 13. And that passage is infamous for just endorsing all types of government, no matter what it is, no
Okay.
matter what it does.
I'm aware.
Yeah,
I'm aware.
and I saw that and I was like, that's nonsense. Paul wasn't hearing from God. And I thought Paul, he wasn't even a disciple. He didn't really learn directly from Christ. Perhaps he's just in error here. And and I justify that also through other passages. Kind of like, remember when Paul was talking about how it's better to be single. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Because yeah,
Rather
because
you think, yeah,
yeah, right.
like me.
And then Paul adds the caveat. He's like, that's not from God. That's just what I believe. Right. So like that. That's in
Yeah,
that's in the
God and some of the stuff he
yeah, it's in the
says.
Bible. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you might be doing that here. And so I tossed it to the side, and I was like, that's not true. And once I started taking that approach, as I began reading more and more of the Bible, I was like, not true, not true, not true. Wrong, 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 wrong. And then, I mean, within a matter of about a week, I was an atheist.
Okay.
That's essentially what happened.
Okay.
I'm leaning back. I had an injury in the gym. I was deadlifting
What
and
happened?
I messed up my back. That's why I'm kind of leaning back. Yeah,
Oh,
man.
dang. Okay.
Yeah,
Hope you get better soon, man.
yeah, man. Me too.
Yeah. I know them injuries can be rough, man, especially on athletes.
Yeah.
So give me one sec. I'm gonna get some verses. So I had him on 10.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait for the verses.
Okay. So 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 okay. So I'm looking at what you did. Um. mm, okay. Okay.
Bringing verses, like it's going to be problematic because of the approach that I told you that I now use. Like I mean, even as a Christian, I perform critical analysis on everything.
Yeah.
Well, with stuff my professors told me, stuff I read in other books. The only thing I didn't do that with was the Bible. Well, now I do
So
that
so
with that
what
as well.
so so what approach do you think I'm gonna have?
Well, I don't know,
Okay. Okay. I so
but
here so here
I was gonna say my thing was if you're using Bible verses, this might be a
yeah.
problem.
I don't think so. Not based
Okay,
on the scriptures I have, but
all right,
we'll see.
all right,
Um, but one thing I guess you should know is I come from a place of skepticism as well
okay.
because of when I started in my faith and how I got started in my faith, and I have kept a lens of skepticism, and I've been honest about my skepticism with the Lord and with the scriptures.
You said
So
you've been skeptical about the Bible,
yes,
so
yes, I have.
and you still believe in talking snakes and magic fruit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
because here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the deal. My skepticism has been consistently disproven when I had the correct approach.
Okay. So
When I had
so
the correct approach.
okay, how
So
did your
so when I
skepticism lead to a talking snake? Could you like give me an example?
what do you mean? How does my skepticism lead to? I mean,
So
that's a
you like
here's
they claim that there was a snake in the garden that
yeah.
convinced a woman to bite a magic fruit, and you saying you examined that with skepticism, and you found it to be true. Like, can you tell me your approach?
Well, first
Like,
of all,
how did you get there through skepticism? Because to me that claim is impressive.
okay. So let me say this. So
Mhm.
first of all, it says serpent, not snake, right?
I mean, a serpent
Just
is a snake.
yeah, but there's a difference. It
Okay.
says serpent, not snake,
Okay. Was
and so
from my knowledge,
yeah,
neither serpents nor snakes are able to talk.
okay. To your knowledge, right?
Yes.
Okay. So so basically, with that whole situation, is like when you see other miraculous things in the Bible, such as Like I give you a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Jonah and the fish, the great fish that came and swallowed Jonah, and later
You didn't see that though.
theologians tried to correct it. It does say that. It says a
No,
great
no,
fish.
I'm saying it says that. What I'm saying is you didn't
Yeah,
see that. Like you couldn't appeal to that as far as like to say that the Bible has some sort of credibility
but you
because you didn't.
stopping me in the middle of what I'm saying.
Okay,
You
I'm sorry.
stopping me in the middle of what I'm saying before I can
Okay,
drag the
okay, my
logic
bad.
over.
All right.
Okay, so people that came in later, they tried to correct that and say whale instead of fish. But the original text never said whale. There's another Hebrew word for whale. It says great fish. Then thousands of years later, we learn that a whale does not have a throat larger than a grapefruit, so it can't swallow a person. So then it had to be a fish that swallowed it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it took thousands of years to catch up with the knowledge to appeal to the first thing that was already
But
said.
no, no, hold on, hold on.
So
Okay, no,
no,
but
listen,
that doesn't. But Ed,
listen.
there's
Let
a
me drag it over.
problem.
Let me
Okay,
drag it over. Okay,
okay,
let me drag it over. Okay. So what I kept consistently finding is the things that I looked at from a human perspective when I applied to God in a spiritual perspective on the terms that are in scripture.
hmm
Then I consistently saw that the Bible was true all along, not what I thought, but I had to have the right approach. So, because of seeing that pattern over and over and over again, I'm able to look at stuff like Genesis and things like that that don't seem explainable. It makes perfect sense to me.
okay. But since a whale being unable to swallow a human doesn't mean that a big fish did it. So I'm asking
Then
you, like, how do you know the story of Jonah is true? And what you told me is that it's impossible for a whale to do it. Okay,
yeah,
I can grant that. That doesn't mean a fish
okay.
did it.
It's just a matter of man being experienced in dealing with God and who
Okay,
He
but
is and what He's like.
you didn't experience that. You said you use skepticism to
Yes,
evaluate this claim and found it to be true. But what I'm saying is disproving that a whale swallowed someone doesn't mean that a big fish did it.
I understand that.
Right. So that's not
So,
skepticism.
so, so listen. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because listen, my skepticism, my skepticism had to do with the character of Christ at first, the nature of the scriptures, the nature of is the Bible true, and the nature of who God is and is He really like that in context of the pages. So what has happened with me is it's not firsthand that I believe in or use my skepticism on the scriptures like Jonah and the serpent and stuff like that. It's secondhand analysis with personal experience with the same God. That's what it is.
Okay, so you had a
So
person
it be
you
like,
had a
no, listen to what I'm saying. No, listen to what I'm saying so you understand my logic where I'm coming from. It'd be like if somebody told you crazy stories about an uncle
Mhm.
and then you met the guy, you were skeptical at first. And based on what you saw with the uncle personally, all the other stories make perfect sense. Even if you didn't see those stories, based on what you experienced personally with the same uncle, even though you weren't there thousands of years ago,
Okay.
you know that, hey, I was skeptical too. Then the uncle showed me what he was like. Now I know all those stories are not exaggerations.
No,
That's the logic I'm coming
what experience did you have with God that made someone being swallowed by a fish make sense?
from. Man, so many, man. So many.
Just pick the
So
best
many.
one.
I wouldn't do that on this show. I wouldn't give you the best one.
Okay. All right. We're having a conversation though. You're trying to convince me though, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay,
I'm
but
trying
are
to
you,
see
you're
where
trying to
you're
show
at.
that it has some skepticism. So, because like first, like you said,
I'm trying to see where you're at.
you use skepticism, use critical analysis to examine the Bible. And what I asked was, how did you determine that a snake could talk? And you said you determined that a snake could talk because Jonah got swallowed by a fish, and you know he got swallowed by a fish because he couldn't have gotten swallowed by a whale. That is the flow of the conversation we've had. What I'm trying to figure out
Yeah, because
is
you're
how are
leaving
you
out
saying?
critical points that I'm making.
But
You're leaving out critical points that I'm making and trying to make what I'm saying not make sense.
uh,
See, the critical point I'm
okay,
making is this. The critical point I'm making is this. The critical point I'm making is that when people come back and try to correct it based on this skepticism,
mm-hmm.
they're proven wrong because the original is more true to what actually happened. That's what I'm saying to you.
See, the original is more true than what actually happened.
The original is more true to what actually happened. That's the line of thinking that I'm trying to get you to understand.
Okay,
Does,
I'm
does
not
that make
tracking.
sense?
No, the original is more true to actually some of the original text.
Not only the original, yes, not only the original text, but the original statements that were closer to what happened. So many times people through skepticism try to make readjustments to what they think sounds ridiculous. But I'm saying when you get connected to the source, then you learn what seems to be ridiculous is not ridiculous at all. It's in congruence to the nature of who he actually is.
Okay, all right. I'll say we'll go ahead with your line of questioning because I'm still not tracking, but it's okay.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's start you off here. Um, when you had these questions,
Mm-hmm.
when you looked at the Bible and all of that, and you saw the problems, you saw the things that didn't line up, that didn't make sense, did you ask God Himself?
So yeah, I mean,
Because in James, now keep
I
in mind,
prayed. Okay.
James 1:5. If any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who liberally gives.
All right. So
Right.
I
So this
asked
is why
what
you a
I
Christian still.
yeah, it's while I was Christian. Yeah. Like I became an atheist while I was a Christian. Now, I asked what I believed was God for answers. And I
Yeah.
got nothing. And I got nothing.
Okay. Did
And
you
so
believe that you would get an answer?
yes, at the time I definitely believed I was going to get an answer. Because I tell you this. So when I went through this process, this happened around
Yeah.
2018. I I
Okay.
I went down this road for the first time in like 2014 and I stopped
Okay.
because I believed that it was going to lead me away from Christianity. So I stopped doing that. And then about 4 years later, I made up my mind. I was like, you know what? God is true. Christianity is true. So there's no way that it's just going to lead me from Christianity. So I'm just going to go and just find out more about God. And so I went down that route of skepticism. And I became an atheist. That's what happened.
Okay.
So
Okay.
at the time I went down that journey, I thought it was true, and I thought I was gonna get an answer, and I did it.
So when you asked for that answer, what was your approach?
Prayer, reading,
Yeah.
studying.
In your prayer,
Uh,
what was that like?
I mean, I asked God. I don't recall. I don't recall what the prayer was, but I mean, I told God that
Okay.
I was struggling. I got no answers.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
But you think that's skeptical? You
Do
think
I
that's
think what's
skepticism?
skeptical?
You think that's skepticism? Do you think I should have kept believing?
I'd have to look at how you asked. That's what I would focus on. Because in my life
Okay,
personally,
I'm
I have
praying. I
questions.
genuinely. So if you're talking about to a Christian who genuinely believes in God, who's asking God for answers, right?
Yes.
And then no answers come. Should I still keep believing?
What kind of questions do you have?
For the answers,
Give me one of your questions.
okay, for an explanation on the government. Like, hey God, are you endorsing all forms of government? Like, is like Nazism? Are you endorsing that? Are you endorsing
So you would ask
communism?
God something like that.
Yes.
You would ask God.
So it's about this with Romans 13. It endorses all government and everything that it does. It's the blanket.
Okay.
So like no matter what it is, no matter how evil and how stupid, that's a problem.
Now, if that was the case, then
It is
why
the
would
case.
God endorse Israel being released from Egypt?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. He had those are his special people. Those are his favorite because he releases them from slavery, and then as soon as they're freed, what does he tell them? They can have slaves. So God isn't opposed to slavery. He's not opposed to slavery in principle. He's just opposed to these specific people being enslaved. Kind of like Hitler. Like I'm sure Hitler
Well,
objected. I'm sure Hitler.
slavery,
Hold on, hold on,
slavery.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm sure
Yeah,
Hitler
let me
was
hear
a,
what you let me hear
but
what you think.
but I'm sure Hitler was opposed to him being murdered. That doesn't mean that he's opposed in principle to murder. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what was going on
Yeah.
here. So
Okay.
he's God was opposed to this specific group to being enslaved. He didn't have a problem with slavery in general.
Okay. Okay.
So like, ask
All right.
God,
So
what's an answer? Nothing.
let me ask you this: how much time did you allow to receive an answer?
Um, I mean, 24. So 2014, he was able to he could have answered. He didn't. So 4 years, and then I went down this journey, and I don't know. I mean, it wasn't as long then. When I went back down that journey in 2018, it happened quick. But but
Mm.
didn't God already give an answer? Like, what is he supposed to tell me? Some audible voice? God already spoke to me through the Bible, so I have the answer right in front of me. So like, I'm asking questions about the answers that God supposedly already given me.
That's what you're supposed to do, though.
Right, and so the answer that I get is that slavery is good. Everything the government do is good. Perfect. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Holocaust.
That's not the answer you received. That's the answer that you
That
came up.
that's the answer in the Bible. Is what I'm saying.
That's an answer
You
based on
can.
your
It is.
interpretation of
It
the Bible.
is. I mean, God. I mean, Paul is very explicit in Romans 13. It says all government is from God. Whosoever rebels against God.
But not all those people that are in government are in obedience to God. I've already gone over this with you.
Sure, sure. But
Yeah,
even still, if the government is doing something, then it would be good.
not necessarily.
Yes, it would. That's what it means.
Because there's
If you
several
rebel
people in the
against the
Bible that
government,
no, there's several people in the Bible, even in Israel, God's chosen people, where God calls them wicked, says
right?
they're
And
evil,
now,
and they get taken down, and
and
they
here's
are are sent people to rebel against them and take them over.
and
I
Paul was
mean, the Old
and
Testament
here's the
is
thing,
filled with situations like that.
and Paul was a Pharisee who was an expert on the Old Testament, wasn't he?
Yes,
Right. Yet he wrote Romans 13.
yeah.
This is part of the reason I dismissed Paul, because Paul didn't know
But
what he was.
but but what is
I saw as a
but
Christian.
what
I remember
but
I
what
said I dismissed Paul. It's like he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not hearing from God. He can't be because he
I
sees.
disagree with that.
But okay, but
But what
why in the name
but
of
then what
common
does Peter
sense
say?
would you say that all
What does
government
Peter
is from
say?
God? Huh,
We ought to
Peter?
obey God rather than men. You see how Scripture has the counterbalance already in there?
No, it does not a counterbalance because it
Yes, it is,
says
because it says,
no,
Peter
Ed,
says
Ed,
we
Ed,
ought to obey
Ed.
God rather than
It
men.
says it says if you disobey the government, you are disobeying God. So when you obey the government, you are obeying God. So when Peter says obey God rather than man, if you obey the government, you're obeying God. There's no contradiction between their words.
They're talking about different sides of the same coin. Just like when Jesus said to when Jesus was talking to the people, he said, render to Caesar what Caesar's and render to God what God was God's. So there's a part that is owed to God. There's a part that's owed to Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
But Caesar is not God. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
It's not the same thing.
Romans 13 doesn't say that either. It doesn't say Caesar's God. It doesn't say God that government is God. It says the government came from God, but it doesn't say they're the same thing.
Yeah, but just
I
because
mean,
something came from God, just because something came from God doesn't mean it's right. The Old Testament is filled with people that was anointed.
I think you broke up for a second, Ed.
Was anointed by God, but disobeyed God.
Right.
You see what I'm
So
saying? Like Saul, for example. Saul was
I think
anointed by
oh
God, set up by God,
right, and
but
he was
then he was also taken down
yes
because he
exactly
rebelled against him.
right, and this is Paul was aware of this, yet he wrote Romans 13.
Yeah, because of the context. You got to look at the context.
What's the context? The
The
context
specific
is
purpose
here's
is
who established government, and here's the answer to whether or not you should obey. Yes, the answer is yes.
okay. Okay, so look, if that verse is not about context,
Mm,
if that verse is not about context, then Paul himself didn't mean what he said, because he himself preaches the gospel when, according to the law of that day, Caesar is supposed to be your Lord. That was the rule of the day. That was the rule of Rome. Caesar, you're supposed to say Caesar is your Lord. But Paul went around saying Jesus is Lord. So doing that by itself is against the government. Christianity itself, proclaiming Jesus as Lord and proclaiming that he resurrected, that's against the government in and of itself. So when Paul was saying that, he was saying that in the specific context of just not being a disobedient person and living a quiet life, a quiet, godly life.
you're adding that to the text. There's nothing in
No,
there that
I'm not adding
suggests
that to
anything
the
like that.
text, because
It's
it
not
says that in
saying
the Bible.
it's not saying have a
It
quiet
says
life
live
or
a
anything like
quiet,
that.
godly life. It
That is
does say
not.
that.
Well, okay.
Yes, it
Anybody
do. It
watch
say
it can
that.
go just read
You keep
Romans
reading it.
13.
Don't say that.
That's not the context. You're just
Yes,
wrong.
it is. No, it is
Well,
the context.
where
Because
okay, where did you where did,
that's the
okay,
application.
be very specific. What verses are you deriving that from?
I'll get it right now.
Also, after this, I would like for you to continue with the questioning.
Yeah, I will. I will. It's gonna be splitting hairs.
I bet.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get anything like what you said from Romans 13. The text is pretty clear, but the fact that we're having this conversation is already problematic.
Why is that?
Because it's unclear. If I were to bring a third Christian in here, or a second Christian in here, just a third person, they might disagree with both of us. Why doesn't God clear that up? That seems to be an error on his part.
For because of this, you must also pay taxes for their God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore to all their due taxes, and taxes of whom taxes due, customs to
Mhm.
whom customs, fear whom fear, honor whom honor.
Yep, that all follows from um, the government getting their authority from God. So you ought to pay the taxes. You ought to obey the laws because it gets authority from God.
But that has to do with not being rebellious and not having a rebellious lifestyle where they can have something against you other than the gospel in and of itself. That's what that's
I
about. That's what that's for.
I don't see where you're getting that from. The context is clear. It tells you
Look at
right
the
here,
whole description.
right at the beginning. It's telling you let everybody be obedient to the government. That's what it's saying. No matter what it does, there's no caveat given. This context that you're adding, it's not here. Like
It's right there on the page.
is it what verse are you reading?
It's not telling you to worship the gods that the government says to worship.
Of
It's
course,
not
it's, of
telling you
course
to
it's
do the
not.
sin the government tell you to do.
Of
It's
course it's
not
not.
telling you to do any of it.
Right. It just said
It's
it,
just
it,
telling
it
you the
just
orders
says
of
to
stuff.
always obey it. This is why these are stupid instructions. This is why I
It don't say always
this is
obey.
this is why I dismiss Paul. It says whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against God. When should you rebel against God?
You don't rebel against God.
Exactly. So that means you'll always follow it. That's why it's
Let me let
you
me
always
let
obey
me let me
it
ask,
because it's
let me
coming from
ask you
God.
a simple let me ask you a simple question. Let me ask you
Mhm.
a simple question. Do you want the scriptures to make sense?
I mean, I don't care. I don't believe in it. So I mean, it'd be like asking me, do I want Harry Potter to make sense? Like, which is like a novel that I've never read or I've never watched the movies either. I mean, like I am indifferent. I don't believe they're true. So I mean, at
But
the
do you want them
time,
to make sense to you?
when I was looking into this, I
Yes.
desperately wanted it to make sense to me. Now
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay. But at the time you did.
Yeah, I mean, at the
At the
time, yeah, yeah. I
okay.
mean, that time has passed, but yes.
Okay. See, it's interesting because I'm looking at this and it's so simple, but to you, you're making a point and not getting around it.
Well, it's simple when you get to make up
Make sure
stuff.
it's doing
Because you're
it.
saying
Make
stuff that's
sure it's
not in
doing
here. You're saying stuff
it.
about it that's not in here.
It's in there
Yet you can't
because of what
point
it's
to the verse. I mean, this
huh?
chapter's not. You can't point to the verse. I mean, this chapter's only 14 verses long. Like the relevant
Yeah.
parts to our discussion is only 10 verses long.
The living a quiet life, that's in Thessalonians. But that's also Paul. That's Paul saying that.
Right.
Okay. But that's
Sure.
in Thessalonians.
Yeah, but there's
Okay.
no reason to take Thessalonians and apply that context to this verse.
It's the
To the
same
show.
speaker though. Same speaker.
So, yeah. So what?
So you
I
can
I don't know
use the
why that matters.
same if you're dealing with the same speaker, you can use other things that same speaker says to put in context the stuff he say.
If there's a reason to think that is relevant, but that's not necessarily the case.
There is a reason to think that's relevant
No, I mean, the
because
reason
because
here is
when it
just to is
because
just to try to win an argument. But like I don't see any rational reason to think that that's
it is rational because of the whole of Scripture because of the actual practice of Christianity technically during this time was illegal.
Okay, so
The actual practice of Christianity technically was illegal during this time.
okay.
If you're a practicing Christian during the first century, you're basically disobeying the government.
I mean, it depends where you were.
Anywhere,
No,
Israel,
not anywhere.
Rome,
Not anywhere. You talking about like in North America? It was illegal to be a Christian.
it was illegal to be a Christian in Israel.
I said in North America, it was illegal to be a Christian.
In North America,
Yeah. How about
they weren't in North America.
and Northern Europe? Right. So it wasn't anywhere. It was just in certain parts.
It was illegal to the places that knew about it during the first century.
No,
Rome included.
I don't know if that was that if that's completely true.
Rome included. Why did Nero persecute Christians if it wasn't illegal?
But so Nero started doing that, but it wasn't always illegal. But also Rome was somewhat.
Because you're supposed to say
hold on. But
Lord
Rome, if you go back in history, you see that Rome was kind of tolerant of other people's religions. That's why in Jesus's time in Israel, they stayed Jewish. Like Rome didn't go in there and convert them to their form of paganism. That didn't happen.
Yeah, until people started saying Jesus is Lord instead of Caesar's Lord, then they had a charge to bring against
them. Okay, so I get where else would you go?
So just saying Jesus is Lord according to this day is illegal in Rome because Caesar's supposed to be Lord in this context.
I mean, I don't know if that was illegal. I mean, for one, even when Jesus, if you look at when Jesus was crucified, what's his name?
Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate. I mean, he came out and said that Jesus didn't break any of their laws. He punished them because
Jesus watch this.
Right.
Jesus
so, I mean, so that kind of defeats the argument that it was illegal.
Listen, Jesus during this specific time, he was called King of the Jews. So he didn't, in this particular time, in that particular context, he wasn't pushing his divinity in Rome in that particular instance. So there was nothing against Rome in that particular time.
Okay. So,
but if Jesus said,
so that means I'm
the Lord, not Caesar, to Pontius Pilate, then Jesus would have had charges. But because Jesus' charge from the Jews was with them and saying he the king of the Jews, well, that ain't really against us. And a lot of it was based on how you want to apply the law, to be honest.
Okay, so Pontius Pilate. Now, I haven't done thorough research into this, far from. I just did a quick Google search, and AI Overview says Christianity was generally not considered an explicit illegal religion throughout most of the first century, as Roman authorities initially viewed it as a sect of Judaism, which was legal. So they said
why would they all put to death?
Well, for different reasons. I mean, for different reasons.
Why would the apostles all put to death?
So check this out. It says hold on. It says while sporadic local persecution occurred, there you go. And such as under Nero, is from 64 to 68 AD, there were no empire-wide systemic laws against Christianity until later centuries.
So, but according to where it was founded, okay, where was Christianity founded? Israel,
right? But
right,
so then
it would have been definitely illegal in Israel.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was in Israel.
In the AI overview,
that's why they literally killed
Ed, the AI overview that I just read to you, it said it wasn't explicitly illegal. It was said Christianity was initially seen as a sect of Judaism, which was legal.
Listen, it was seen as a sect of Judaism by Rome, but not by Jews in Israel. By Jews in Israel.
Okay.
In that government, they tried to stamp it out and tried to destroy it.
You were saying that Christianity was illegal everywhere. No, I'm
It
telling
was.
you. So no, hold up. No, how was it legal everywhere when we looking at the Roman Empire, which covered a significant part of the earth, and it
Yes.
wasn't legal? I mean, it wasn't illegal.
You want me to explain?
No, this is. Why don't you just give
Want
up
me to
on this
explain or
point?
not?
And okay,
You
go
want me to
ahead.
explain or not?
Go ahead,
Okay.
explain.
First of all, AI overview doesn't explain everything.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I grant that, but
So then, okay. So then, why was Paul imprisoned in Rome?
sporadic persecution.
Okay, but he was still in prison.
Yeah, that's a form of sporadic persecution.
Okay.
That
So
doesn't mean
so
there's no
so that he was
systemic
in
laws against
prison for,
Christianity.
for doing what? Preaching the gospel.
Yes, again, this is
Okay.
sporadic
So then,
persecution.
if you get put in prison and they had charges on you, then what you did was illegal according to that place that put you in prison.
No, it didn't work the same way. So it wasn't like, oh, you have to have these charges on the books filed against you, and you couldn't retroactively outlaw something that somebody did. No, like the emperor just didn't like you. He throw you in prison, and so
Hey,
that
give
that
me a
that was
second.
the.
It's
I think he having some technical issues. But I mean, the point here is that Christianity was not illegal everywhere. But I kind of want to move on from this point because it has nothing to do with the rest of the debate about why I stopped believing Christianity. Because I mean, whether Christianity was illegal in first century Rome or not, it really has no bearing on the truthfulness of it or whether I believe it to be true. So when he gets back on the pod, I'll probably just move on from that. But while we wait, I don't have any planned guests for next week. So if anybody does want to come on the show, just hit me up, and I'll be down to chop it up. Yeah, I was trying to move the show. Ed, you back?
sorry about that, man. It cut you out.
All good.
I'm back.
All right. So what I was just saying. What's that sound? You have the speaker on?
Can you hear me?
I can,
Okay.
but it starts sounding crazy.
What does it sound like?
Like some really bad feedback. I get on my mic every time I start talking.
All right, hold up.
You don't got Bluetooth earbuds, do you?
Uh, Not Bluetooth, no, not Bluetooth.
Okay, like how about even with cables that you can speak into with your mic?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Did you hear that?
I can hear you, but it's just when I talk, I'm getting crazy feedback.
Yeah, I hear that, but it's good enough for me to continue.
Okay. Well, I'm getting really bad feedback from you.
I mean, it's good to keep saying and continue.
All right, that's
So
fine. We'll go ahead. I'll just ignore it.
yeah,
All right. So what I was saying was Paul was in prison as a result of sporadic persecution. That doesn't mean it was illegal.
it was illegal by somebody's standards, some authority standards.
Okay. So, but either way, the claim that it was illegal everywhere is false. Now,
It's
but let's move
some
on. Let's move on because it has no bearing on Christianity being true.
Romans 13 because it's illegal by some standard, by some government, by some application in Rome to cause him to be put in prison.
So I
Along
didn't
with
say, Ed, I didn't say it wasn't illegal anywhere. You were saying that it was illegal everywhere on Earth, and I was just showing that to be obviously false.
it's still an illegal religion during that time. So it's just a matter of where they apply that and where they don't apply. But either way, it's still illegal by Rome standards in some places It just depends on where. Okay. And this AI, like I said, it don't know everything. Okay. And honestly, I think the AI is definitely underselling how much Christianity was persecuted in the first century.
So, can you log out and then log back in? Because that nasty feedback, they're hearing it in YouTube too. I just checked. They can definitely hear it. Can you try?
All right, let me try.
Yeah, Phantom. So I was thinking about moving into politics, geopolitics, international relations. I mean that's something that I find just generally more interesting than like the uh,
Okay.
Ed.
Yeah.
Man, that feedback is back. Now,
Oh, see.
well, now I don't hear it. It went away. Okay,
All
that's
right.
better.
All right. Let's switch gears a little bit because the main premise of what I was trying to say is this: the way you are approaching trying to figure out whether Christianity is true, you moved at such a pace to where you did not allow God, if He wanted to answer you,
I gave him 4 years,
to be.
Ed.
You said you didn't want to go down that road because you were afraid it would pull you away from Christianity.
Yeah,
That's not seeking.
and then I went down the road and I did.
Okay, so that tell me you're not really seeking.
Well, not anymore. I don't believe it.
I'm saying during that time, if you weren't willing to bring that to the table, and then when you did bring it to the table, it took a week, then you weren't in the faith anymore. That means you weren't really seeking.
I mean, I was seeking, but
Yeah, but not
my epistemology changed.
okay, yeah, but you weren't really seeking.
I was really seeking. Just my epistemology changed. Hold on. Hey,
Let me
hey
put it this
Ed.
way.
So, question.
Yeah.
Um, what did you change about your mic? Are you using a loudspeaker?
What do you mean? You getting feedback right now?
Yes, really bad feedback. The chat can hear it.
I didn't.
What did you say?
I said I didn't change anything. I just used the same stuff.
Okay. Can you try turning the speaker on and off again?
Yeah.
Hey, chat. That's not just me. Y'all can hear that too, right?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
So it's only doing it when I talk. So what's happening is I speak and
Yeah.
then it picks it up and then tries to speak again. That's what's happening.
Well, it's good now. It's no feedback now.
You don't hear that?
No.
Okay, the chat still hears it.
That's weird. I don't hear any. You were doing the repeat thing before, but not right now.
Okay.
I don't hear it. It's clear.
Okay. Well, we'll try to. Guys, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know how to fix it. All right. But go ahead.
So let's say this, right? Let's say this. Let's say there's a guy that is dealing with the notion that there is a cure to cancer, right? But he's afraid that if he goes down that road, he'll give up medical school and this, that, and the other, right? Okay, so if you don't go down that road thoroughly, that means you're not seeking with all your heart. Like what Jeremiah 29:13 say to do. Seek with all your heart. You seek the Lord with all your heart, you will find it. Now, when you take it further and it's a week and you go, you're willing to tell me that somebody in medical school grappling with the idea of there being a cure to cancer, so then they do the research, and within 1 week, they determine, oh, there's no cure at all. Is that thorough seeking?
No, that's not. That's not what I did either.
Tell me what you did.
So
That's
I
how
did.
you communicate.
No, I didn't. So it's not equivalent to say that there is no cure to cancer. Like a more accurate analogy would be to say I have no evidence that there's a cure to cancer.
Okay. But how long did you look for that evidence?
I mean,
A
so
week?
yeah, I mean, well, before I stopped believing, yeah,
Yeah.
it was like I said, it was very quick. It was about a
Okay.
week. Also,
Okay.
I
So that
mean, I've run a show for about 3 years where I'm having these conversations mostly with Christians, and I don't
yeah.
hear any good arguments or get any good evidence. It's mostly stuff like this that I just wasn't believing hard enough, or I didn't believe long enough, or I didn't ask enough times, or something like that. I mean, I can come up with some belief, no matter how stupid, and then just say, well, if you don't believe it, then if you're not convinced, you just didn't try hard enough to believe. That's exactly what
Got
you're
it.
doing to me.
Now, let me present to you what I'm actually saying, so
Okay.
you understand. Okay. So first of all, instead of asking people, because that's the difference. Okay. If my okay, I'm a point to me. If my faith was based on people, I would be an atheist. Okay. Because my question is too strong for most people to be able to just answer. That I took directly. God sorted out those questions, and therefore I believe. So first of all, where you direct your questions, like James 1 says, that's the important part. Are you directing them questions to God? Because a lot of people that are in Christianity, they don't really do their homework.
So this is special pleading. It shouldn't matter where you direct your questions. So like if I'm
Listen, let me finish,
it is absurd to think that only one person would be able
let me
to answer something.
let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
So a lot of people in Christianity, they don't do their homework and they don't allow serious skepticism in the battlegrounds of their faith. They don't
But
allow serious skepticism.
Ed, I don't think
A lot,
you allowed serious skepticism.
say that again.
I don't think you allowed serious skepticism.
Yes, I do.
You
Yes, I
did
do.
not. Not from what you told me earlier.
Eh,
You
I,
believe a snake talk because Jonah got swallowed by a fish, and you believe he got swallowed by a fish because he couldn't have gotten swallowed by a whale. That is not
yeah, that's not
skeptic. That's not
points.
skepticism.
I didn't give you my heaviest ones. I didn't give you my serious one.
Okay, I hope that one isn't serious because that's not even close to rational.
I'm giving you so you understand the form and the logic.
Okay, that is a bad form. That form is fallacious. And
Huh?
what I'm saying is trying to is proving one thing couldn't do something doesn't mean that something else could. Like proving that you could not lift 500 pounds doesn't mean that I could. It's
Okay.
possible that neither one of us could. It's
Okay.
possible that Jonah wasn't swallowed by a fish or a whale. The size of the whale's throat tells you nothing about the fish. Let's Google can a fish swallow a human? I don't know. Let's see. It just says it's unlikely, and it says it gives the same explanation um for whales. Their throats are too small.
Not a big enough fish, but that's a whole other
But
story.
not a big enough whale.
Whales are pretty big, but anyway,
Yeah, but if
that's
the
not,
whale was bigger, his throat would be bigger. You said not a big enough fish. What I'm saying,
yes,
they're in the same boat or in the same ocean, right?
it's
If you
big. So
neither fish nor whales can swallow people.
they had a small throat. Not about the size of the whale. It's the
What?
fact that the big whales have the small throat.
But if the whale was bigger, then its throat could be bigger.
No, that's not how it works. The bigger whales had a smaller throat.
So maybe a smaller whale then could swallow Jonah.
No, it was a fish. That's what the scriptures say. It
How do
was
you
a.
know? But how do you know that?
How do I know what?
How do you know that Jonah got swallowed by a fish?
Because I know the nature of God and I know what the text say.
I know what the text says as well. What I'm saying is
Okay,
how can you how what about God's nature tells you that Jonah got swallowed by a fish?
because God is very specific in terms of the words that He chooses to use and how He uses them and how He puts them together, and they stand the test of time. So that's how I know.
It didn't stand the test of time. Right? We just Googled it, and neither a fish nor a whale is capable of swallowing a human whole.
That's why I say on the page it say a great fish. Doesn't say a regular fish. It says a great
The
fish.
great fish. How do you know that existed? Where is it?
It says a great fish. We
I
don't
know
know.
what it says, but that's not what I asked. I was like, where is it now? Is it still
Don't know.
swallowing people?
Probably not.
But
But it
how
could
do
be.
you know?
Don't
That's
know
what I'm
about.
saying. How do you know this isn't just made up? I'm okay with you believing it, but don't sit here and call it skeptical. You're not exercising skepticism here.
I'm not using.
These are huge jumps, and this in no way proves the talking snake, which was my original question.
I'm not using it in the context of this conversation, but I'm telling you how the logic flows.
That logic does not flow like that. Those are called non sequiturs. If someone asks you, how do you know a talking snake? How do you know a snake could talk? And then he said, because Jonah got swallowed by a whale. That is a non sequitur. You're going to have to make some connection. I don't see it. I don't see where it
Yeah,
is. It's just this giant gap. How
missing
did I'm missing a what?
the nature of God. That's the whole backbone of the premise. I understand the nature of God. You keep skipping that and leaving that
Well,
out,
I'm asking
and you literally
how does the
somebody
nature of God prove that?
make any sense.
How does nature of God prove that the snakes talk?
Listen, if you met somebody, if you met somebody and you got to know them, you heard crazy things about them, and then you met them and you found them to be of such reliable, specific character in accordance to what those other people said and accordance to what they say, that's called a character testimony. Okay, character testimony. So because of knowing what the person character is like, that's how I'm able to drag it across to events that I
You
didn't
didn't
see
drag it
before,
across. So Ed,
experience before,
so
and I
Ed,
can know it's
here's the
true because
problem. You're already
who I'm
doing
dealing
another fallacy. You're doing another fallacy, right? Because like I'm looking at the claim, and you're conflating the truthfulness
so
of the claim
yeah.
with no, you're conflating the truthfulness of the claim with whether or not the person making the claim is lying. Like from what I can tell, you don't seem to be a liar. You seem to be a trustworthy person. However, if you told me that somebody got swallowed by a giant fish, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't think you're lying. I would genuinely believe that you are convinced about that belief. But that doesn't make the belief true. There is
Okay,
no
so
rational basis to
so
accept it.
let's deal with that premise. Let's deal with that premise. Let's deal with that premise. If you know me to be mathematical, specific with my words,
Mm-hmm.
and not an exaggerator, in addition to not being a liar, then if I tell you something like that, then it holds weight.
No,
Well, then hey, that's the
no.
difference.
So a personal testimony
Yeah,
is not should not be enough to establish what we know empirically to be impossible.
but see,
Like it,
here's the deal. Listen, that's what the faith is.
think about the most
That's
honest person you've ever met. Perhaps it's your
listen, that's
mother, your father, whatever. If they told you they could fly, that would not make the claim credible.
that's literally what the faith is.
So okay, so can you give me an example of someone the most honest person that you know that you'd believe anything they say. Like who is that to you? Is do you have one like that? A parent, a sibling, a spouse?
Yeah. How you mind?
Okay. And so
Yeah.
and if they told you, you say your mom.
No, no, I said I got somebody in mind.
Okay, so think about that person.
Yeah.
If they told you that they was playing basketball one day and they
Yeah.
jumped all the way through the building to the moon and then jump back, would you believe them?
And it's the most honest person I know.
The most honest person you know.
I would I would think I would think they're joking.
No, they tell you they're dead ass. They're like I am not lying. I'm not joking. I'm telling you right now. I jumped to the moon. You believe it?
Well, so hear me out. If it's a person, I wouldn't believe it
Why
because
not?
of
They're so honest.
listen, because of what I understand about the limitations of physics.
Right. So
But
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like
but
a
listen,
person's
if,
credibility could like it's not enough to establish a fact like that. You're gonna need
let me
something
finish.
empirical.
Let me finish. Okay. If I'm dealing with a being that I know that can stretch the limits of physics and time, then we got something else going on.
Okay. And how do you know the being can do that?
Yeah, because I personally seen the being do it.
You seen the being stretch time.
Time, physics, all that.
He said you saw when did you see him stretch time?
Man, it's so many things I can tell you. It's not even funny,
You
man.
saw what stretch. I'm trying to figure out how you saw what stretch time. So it made 60 seconds. It made a minute extend to maybe like 2 minutes.
I I've seen this being do all kind of things that are not explainable by human abilities.
How do you know it's not explainable by human abilities? Do you know what all human abilities are?
I don't know what all human abilities are,
Right.
but
So you don't know.
I know what my abilities are.
Right. But
And if
okay.
there's no other
But
people around,
your abilities are not your
saying
abilities.
if there's no other people around and I experience something and I'm the only one around, I know the limitations of my abilities. So if I see something past my abilities and I experience it, then I know that there's a being stretching
Were
the
you
limits.
high? Were you high when you saw time stretch? High, drunk? You were completely sober.
You said what?
Were you completely sober when you saw time stretch?
Listen, I've never gotten drunk. I've never done weed. I've never been inebriated in my life. Not once. Never.
I mean, I'm just. I mean, there's so many questions that's now raised. It's like I don't even. I'm not even sure how you could. What tool would you even use to measure that time stretched? Because that tool would be within time as well. Like if you were to count, use a clock to measure a minute after you stretched it, the clock is going to still measure a minute because it's within the time that's being stretched. Like
Let me
none of it even makes any sense.
let me break it. Let me break it
What?
down like this.
How,
Let me break it down like this.
mm-hmm.
Let me break it down. I'm gonna go back to character analysis because that's what this was built on before. That's what this whole point was on before.
You
Character
said
testimony.
carrot character.
Character
Okay.
character testimony. All right. Because of the nature of Scripture, because of Hebrews 11:6, without faith it is impossible to please God. Because of James 1:5, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. But if he doesn't believe, he shouldn't expect to receive anything. You know, um, Jeremiah 29:13, Romans 12:3. You know, you're being awarded according to the measure of your faith. There are so many things that have to do with your faith system and belief in character analysis to open up the door for you to be given the answers that you're looking for. But if you can't do character analysis and use character analysis as a means to see this stuff and you see in front of you,
You got really muffled. I'm not sure what's going on right now.
you dead in the middle.
Hey Ed, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
It's like you got really muffled. I don't know what that last part you said. If I can't do character analysis, what happens?
You dead in the middle.
Okay, I think there's something going on with your mic.
I said, if you can't do analysis, you're dead in the water.
Okay. Well, like you said, character analysis only can only give the credibility that the person isn't lying. It doesn't mean that what they're saying is true. Like I've lied plenty of times in my life, but if I've also told things that I thought were true and they weren't. So like, I wasn't deceiving.
It
I
can't.
gave what I thought was accurate information and I was just wrong. And so that says
It,
nothing about my character other than that it's I'm not perfect.
no. Listen, this is about using the character of the witness that you're calling on to be able to take that and use that to open the door to get more evidence.
Okay, but I didn't see an example of you doing that. How would you know that you're God? How do you know he's omniscient?
How do I know he's omniscient?
Mm-hmm.
Cause man, all the things I've seen him do and seen him know in advance
That
before
would
I could human
that would just
or
means
see.
he knows all. But Ed, that would mean he knows all the things that you know. So like, if I knew all the things that you knew, or every question you could ask, I would appear to be omniscient, despite not.
No, no, because that's not actually what I said. I said knowing things beyond what I could know.
How and what's give me an example of something that he knew beyond what you could know.
Knowing that a certain event is going to happen in advance before it does,
And
or
like,
knowing a
give
certain
me
thing.
can be specific. Like what did he know in advance? You
I'm
also
gonna keep it.
also here if let's say the thing that he knows in advance, that doesn't mean he proves everything. He knows everything. That's not how that works. Like if I predicted who was going to win the Super Bowl for the next 10 years, that wouldn't mean I knew everything.
Sure, sure.
Right. So that doesn't establish omniscience.
But it showed that you know more than what regular people know.
I mean, sure, that that's probably true.
Okay.
I mean,
If I
I would say I know more than what regular people know now. I mean, just because of my job, just because of the way it works. Like I'm an Intel analyst and computer scientist. There's a lot of stuff that I know, but that doesn't make me omniscient.
yeah,
Right. So how would you establish omniscience?
you just had to use credibility of character, man.
No, that character has nothing to do with this. It has nothing to do with whether you're good or bad or a gentle person. I'm talking about whether you're omniscient, whether you're good or evil. How would you establish omniscience?
You just have to have faith
Right. So
and
you
use
don't know
that.
that. So what I'm saying is you're just using faith. You're just believing it, just cause. So you could never establish omniscience.
You use faith based on what you do know, based
Right.
on the fact you've been shown or
But what
given
you
things.
do know could not establish omniscience, which means the things he's saying could be wrong. He could be wrong about a talking snake. He could be wrong about the fish, the giant fish.
Can I be honest?
Mm-hmm.
Because I see what happened. I see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. You gotta let me explain this without cutting me off.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna tell you what happened. So when it has to do with scripture, and when it has to do with the God of scripture, okay, when you take it for what it's worth, God has a tremendous ability to do things in the visible world. Okay. He has a tremendous ability to do things in the visible world. In fact, just seeing him would almost be like him pointing a gun at you
Mm-hmm.
because his is that intimidating and he has that much power.
But that's
Okay.
where are we going at with this? Are you establishing his omniscience?
About to show you. So because of that, God, that's one reason why God does everything by faith.
Okay, but
Okay.
what can you tell me where you're getting to with this? Are you establishing God's omniscience?
In the visible.
His what?
With Thomas, listen, just like with Thomas, he
Ed,
said,
but before you continue, I don't know where you're going. I'm asking the question.
hey, bro, be
So
quiet so I can explain to you what's
okay,
going on.
so I'm asking, are you
What's going
establishing?
on? What he did with Thomas, okay? What he did with Thomas, he told him, blessed are those that believe without seeing. Okay. He told him that. That's the principle that he goes off of.
Gotcha.
He showed his hand and let him press into it. But he told him after it was better if you believe without seeing.
Right.
Okay.
So what you're saying is there is no method. You should just believe.
Listen, listen to what I'm saying. There is the
Hmm. Okay.
there is the listen to what I'm saying. Because of what God he chooses to do things based on the non-believer. That's what's
Based
really
on based on what your mic is breaking up.
based on the non-visible because of what he can do
So
in the
who can see the non-visible? Can you see
who
it?
can do
Who can you see the non-visible?
can I see the non-visible
Mm-hmm.
through faith,
So you can't see it. You're saying you just have faith,
things not seen.
right? So how do you know he's doing anything through it? Or are you just making it up and then believing it on faith?
How do I know he's doing what?
Doing anything through the non-visible.
You even understand what I just told you?
Well,
You keep cutting me off.
I understood part of it because you kept breaking up.
Okay, so you didn't understand what I was telling you.
No, partly you were breaking up for one,
All right,
but
look.
also I
Let me.
was trying to get clarity on where you were going. That way I can analyze what you were saying. But like I was listening and it, I didn't know where you were going, so it sounded like you was rambling, so I couldn't follow.
Okay, so you're not listening, basically.
I am listening, but
Okay,
you were
and
not only were you breaking up,
you keep
but
cutting me off when I try to
you
explain to you.
wouldn't. But okay,
I'm
Ed.
not being quiet and let me get through the whole point, and maybe you understand something.
Okay, Ed.
Okay,
Before you get to the whole point, can you
all right.
please tell me the fact that you are trying to establish
I'm trying to show you the methodology
of what?
of in God works.
Of you said of seeing how God works.
I'm trying to show you the methodology on how seeking God works.
Okay, all right, Ed. So that's not what I'm interested in. That's not what
Well,
I'm interested in. Okay, but
that's what I'm
like,
telling
okay, but Ed, so that's just your opinion,
you. Claim
and
that God isn't real and all that, but I'm telling you the methodology in order to find God. You're not interested in that. You're not interested in finding
so
God.
Ed. So I don't believe in that.
But you're not willing to go to Africa. I'm not interested in that.
So it doesn't address what I was asking. Because all you're doing is telling me is that I should just you gave me the story of Thomas. And you said the name of the story was basically I should just believe on faith.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Because that's how, when I was asking you about God's omniscience,
Oh boy,
you
bro,
got there
how
by faith.
come you can't listen, bro? Just be quiet so I can explain it to you,
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
please. Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, okay, I'm gonna go back to Thomas. Okay, since we on Thomas. Okay, it's okay to be skeptical. It's okay to have skepticism. Okay, but what did Thomas do? He took his hand and put it in his hand. Okay, because God knew what his measure of faith is. God knows what your measure of faith is. God knows what it takes for you to believe.
How do you know God
Okay,
knows that?
listen, you keep talking, bro. Stop talking so I can explain to you. Okay, God knows what your measure of faith is and what it takes for you to believe within reason of the faith that you specifically were given. But you have to be faithful with your faith. So check this out. The way this works is based on where you're at, you take your skepticism, you give it to God, and you use the character that you have been shown by God, and you meet God in the middle, and then he opens the door for you to get more evidence based on how you deal with the character that he already shows you. But if you can't do character analysis, okay, and you can't use
We
a
already,
character in terms of
Ed, we,
God, please be quiet so I can explain to you. Please be quiet. Thank you. Then you're dead in the water in terms of seeking God.
yes, you said that.
Because
So, Ed, we
Thomas,
already established, Ed, you're saying the
unlike
same
Thomas,
thing again. Ed,
listen,
Ed, you're
you're
saying the
not
same thing again.
faithful enough to put your hand in his hand.
Hey, Ed, you're saying the same thing again. Okay, we already established character analysis does not establish facts.
It does when it comes to faith.
No,
Yes,
okay,
it does. And when it comes to faith,
with faith, okay, but okay, with faith, then you can just believe anything, no matter how stupid.
God, aren't we? We're looking at God, aren't we?
I'm God. Just have faith,
God, bro.
huh?
We're looking at God,
Yes, you
and
are.
I'm
You're looking
telling
at
you
Him
to find him. And I'm showing you that.
right here. Faith,
Are you sick?
faith. Just put your Ed. Just use for your faith, right here.
Are you serious?
Oh, This is functionally equivalent to what you're doing. It is the same thing. Not
No,
even
it's
functionally
not.
equivalent. It is identical. It's not even. It's
No,
not
it's
even an analogy here. I just
not.
redirected your faith somewhere else.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not.
It is.
Bro, listen,
I
it's
said
so simple.
you're using faith. You're using faith to believe what you believe, and I use faith to believe what I believe.
Listen,
This is a
you take your skepticism and honestly apply it towards the character, and you meet in the middle. That's how you do it. You don't throw away your skepticism. You don't skip over your skepticism. You don't pretend it's not there. You don't pretend you don't have hard questions.
right.
You bring hard questions, and you use the character and you use what God gives you to drag it across.
Look at my
But if you're
character.
not willing to use character evidence, then you're dead in the water.
Ed,
And character evidence.
look at my character. I've served my country. Uh, I'm a family man. I work hard.
Okay.
I'm God.
Wow, man,
Faith.
bro.
Right? And that's what I'm saying. It is equivalent to what you're doing. But I want to go ahead and give you a last word.
You
Like
have
I'm.
you have no reverence. You
I
have
said.
that because no other atheists
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't dare say anything like that.
I mean, I
They
don't know any
wouldn't.
atheists that wouldn't say that.
No, I know a lot of atheists that wouldn't say that because they have more respect and faith in that. So what that
Mm.
say about your character, along with the other analyses that you use regarding rape and
Ed,
all this other stuff,
Ed, Ed, your
that shows
character is bad because you don't believe in me. Ed, your character is bad. How
my
dare you?
any irreverent, dirty, disgusting, evil
How
behavior,
dare you reject the person that created
you make about a belief.
you? But all right, I'm gonna give you a last word.
That's your character.
Okay.
So
All
say
right. Well, my character is good because I say so. Because I am the standard of my own measure. I am God. But but anyway, Ed, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I can't hear you, man. You went really. There's something going on with your mic. You've been cutting in and out. I've been hearing a word here and there. But dude, next time we get you on, you please get a laptop and get one of these. It's gonna go much smoother. Because
it
like
wasn't a problem.
well, like while you were talking, I was listening through
I'm saying,
Riverside app, and I was also listening through YouTube. You was cutting in and out.
I'm saying I'm not debating that. I'm saying the other problems, other times I was on the show that wasn't a problem. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was definitely the case this time because it was only your audio. It wasn't mine.
again, it wasn't a problem before. So
Yeah, I mean, it was a problem this time.
obviously,
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, man. If next time we can get you a mic and a laptop, and I don't know, maybe a steady connection. But like as time goes going on, it was kind of lagging. But anyway, I appreciate you coming on, man. It was a good conversation, man. I enjoyed it. Even though I mean I got kind of facetious towards the end, but anyway, I still had fun, man. But thanks for coming on, bro.
all right, man. Good talking with you.
You too, my man. Big up, brother.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Now That's Debatable. Like I was saying, while Ed was disconnected earlier than the show, I don't have a planned guest for next week, but email me at nowthat'sdebatableStream at hold on. You know what? I'm gonna put the name. I'm gonna put our exact email in the chat. That way, you can just hit me up directly. It's coming in a few seconds. Somebody just emailed me saying it looks you should stop doing philosophy. Like it hurts. I'm worried about you. I don't know, but maybe that's a guess. While y'all, I still got y'all online. Let's I'm gonna check this out together. I don't know what this was, but it says Kim Regic. It looks like it hurts. I'm worried about you. Kindest regards, Kim Regic. I don't know what's going on. That's a guess. Oh, okay. I don't know what it. That's weird. That's a strange email as well. All right. Well, can you tell him to send me an email that makes a little more sense? Hey guys, if you're listening, I'll reply to you. Kim Regic. But yeah, I'd love to have you on. Have it. We'll narrow down the topic, and we can. Hey, stop. I don't want you in the camera. Stop. I don't want people to see you. All right. So anyway, my daughter just came in, but I will catch y'all guys later. All right. I'm out.